like I was saying, but oh, that's depressing. Mandy took my other pina colada. Fuck! And I am back. Bitches, we've been on a break for several weeks. We just got back from the honeymoon. This is the first video I'm recording since then. Big giant shout out to the Ninja Militia. Thank you guys so much for being patient. So with that said, I'd like to give a giant shout out to Uno for sponsoring this video. And I'll tell you guys kind of why I'm super excited about this company. I have not heard about this company up until recently when they hit me up. And this company was actually established in 2015. And then I started to realize that their pods were pretty decent. But more importantly than that, their mission altogether is exactly what drove me to do this review. And I want to do them justice. Regardless of how you feel about Juul compatible devices or disposable devices, this is a company that I like to see because their mission is to help save vaping, specifically with the flavor ban, not only for their own interest, but for smokers transitioning over to vaping and wanting to ensure the future of vaping for smokers to be able to transition. So with that said, let's kind of go and dive into it. It's going to be kind of a quick one. There's not much to review except for the flavors themselves. So first, the Skull device. This is the one I've been kind of rocking on and off since basically ECC back in August. Right here's the instruction card in the back, and this is not the one we're going to kind of focus on. We're going to mostly focus on these guys, but I do want to touch on this one in particular. So the Skull device looks similar concept to a Juul. I cannot stand Juul as a company as a whole, and they did take their own flavors off the market, which is kind of a crazy move. They are, to me, not representative of the vape industry. But with that said, there are a lot of people out there who enjoy the Juul, who actually transition from smoking. They are not the company to support. This would be a company to support. If you like the physical features, if you like the actual size of the Juul, this is going to be the way to go. One of the bigger reasons, again, is because you're helping to support a company who's helping to support our industry. So big shout out to them for doing that. I'll go and post a screenshot right here. Bam! Look at that. Little things like that, to me, as soon as you go on the website, as soon as the age verification is finished, you go on and it shows help stop the flavor ban. Even if it's something small like signing a petition or the fact that they're donating to VTA and they're actually a part of the meetings of Washington, that stuff goes a long way in my opinion. Okay, so let's go and get down to the nitty gritty. First, we're going to start with Cool Mint. I'm going to go and take a puff of it right now. Beautiful. So Cool Mint to me, of course this is just flavors, so it's extremely subjective, so take this with a giant grain of salt. This Cool Mint in particular reminds me more of, say, the Mojo Cool Mint. The difference being is this one is more hollow in the center. It sits more on the tip of my tongue as opposed to in the center of my tongue. It's not sweet, it's not overbearingly minty, it's just mint and nicotine. If you can imagine that combination, that's exactly what it is. And to me, it's a little bit on the boring side. I'm a daily menthol vapor, so I was a little bit disappointed with this one. Go and check out the Strawberry Lemonade. They murdered this lineup. The strawberry is very at the forefront of this flavor. However, it is not overbearing. Most strawberries that I try, especially in a disposable system for whatever reason, the strawberry tends to taste extremely artificial. More of a candy, like more of a gummy. Yes, it's more of a sweet vape flavor, but the actual sweetness comes through as super mellow. The lemonade portion is there, but it's more of a backing note. It's more in the back of the palate. It doesn't come to the forefront until the exhale. It's beautiful. I absolutely love this one. The iced watermelon is good. I've had a lot of different iced watermelons from a lot of different companies. I would say this is in my top 5, but it's definitely, I would leave this out of my top 3 in terms of iced watermelons. There's 5 or 6 I've tried in the past that just blow my mind. This one is just good. It's got that nice ice coolada in the background, a little bit of that menthol taste, as well as the watermelon's kind of a backing note. I wish that the watermelon on this one was more of a mint as opposed to a menthol. I'd like to see a little bit more sweetness out of this one in particular. Pink lemonade, do yourself a favor. If you like citrus, if you like lemonades, this one is phenomenal. This is the best pink lemonade I've had in any disposable. I've probably only had 4, maybe 4 or 5, but this one takes the cake immediately. No other company, in my opinion, has even come close in terms of flavor to this one. Let's go and take a puff of that one. The pink lemonade is everything you want it to be, and none of it sits in the front, none of it sits in the back. It's all one thing. The pink lemonade in this does not separate in terms of flavors. I can separate the flavors in the strawberry lemonade, which is good. That's not a bad thing. That's a great thing. You can taste the strawberry, you can taste the lemonade, but it doesn't quite meld as well as, say, this one does. This one is just a hair above that strawberry lemonade. I love it. Pina colada, one of my favorites. The pina colada on this one, you can taste the coconut. The pineapple on this one comes through a little bit more than I would prefer. I'm curious to taste this liquid if it was by itself. This is one of the ones where I genuinely would probably vape or probably drip if I had that liquid available. So with that said, pina colada definitely going to my favorites pile. The tobacco is the most important. We'll kind of get to that in a second. We'll leave that alone. Mango, I simply don't like mango. I don't know what to tell you. I wish I did. Mango is just like one of my least favorite flavors in vaping. Same with blueberry. I cannot stand most blueberries. Can't stand most mangoes. I don't even know how to judge it. I can't judge it. It tastes exactly like mangoes. Mangoes like this a little bit iced to it. Ice lychee is one of my go-tos. This one I will bring with me everywhere. I do bring this one with me everywhere, not just this one in particular. I have a whole stash of ice lychee that I just brought it on the honeymoon, on the airplane. I bring it to movie theaters, I bring it to malls, anytime I want to self-vape, and it does its job. Let's go and take a puff of this bad boy right now. Throat Hit King. back to this Cool Mint real quick. My biggest complaint with the Cool Mint out of any of these, no throat hit. I literally live and vape for throat hit. I want to feel like I'm giving a blowjob to a box of razor blades. That's what I want to fucking feel. I want my throat to hurt when I'm vaping. That's my favorite part of vaping, is when I take a hit, I inhale, and my back of my throat feels like there's like a 6-pound midget trying to punch its way out using fucking brass knuckles. That's what I want. Absolutely phenomenal. The bottom portion right here, as you're taking the draw, there is an indicator light. It's blue, it's beautiful, and it says it can last up to 200 puffs. Here's the weird part. I tried counting, I got to maybe 120, 130, and after that, I just stopped counting. I've been vaping on this one for a longer than I should have. I stopped counting in the low hundreds. I ended up by bringing this one to Mexico with me, and it's still going. If you're using it as a primary vape, you're probably going to get closer to that 200 mark. Now let's go and talk about the tobacco. To me, this is the most important one that they sell. For myself, I look at disposable systems as a transition piece for the average smoker wanting to go into vaping. This, back in the day, is exactly what you would expect to see on the market. This, to me, is much more attractive. It's less like a cigarette in terms of like actually looking and feeling like an actual cigarette, but it makes everything a lot easier for a smoker to transition. This is similar in size. You can still do this with it. You can hold it in your lips like a cigarette. Watch. Just like an actual cigarette. To me, it's very important if you're going to have a transition piece like this to have the feeling or the nostalgia of a cigarette, but at the same time, it looks different enough to where you can distinguish it psychologically. This, to me, is the most important, like I was saying, because I want it to taste like an actual cigarette or as close as possible without using actual tobacco to flavor it. As soon as I started vaping on the tobacco, I knew that I wanted a giant pack of these just to give away to smokers. Anytime I meet up with a smoker, anytime I see a smoker, even if I don't know them, I'll take this out of the Suburban. I'll give them a brand new box just like this. I'm like, here, take this, make the switch. 9 times out of 10, I'll get hit up back via message, and they're telling me that they enjoy the product. Where can they get it? So with that said, this, in my opinion, is a home run. Yes, they have a lot of flavors, and they're actually coming out with 2 more as we speak. Now, the fact that they hit this out of the ballpark is amazing. But with that said, let's go and talk about build quality for a moment. The only ones that I really want to compare it to, because it's the most similar in terms of robustness in the way that it feels, is going to be Mojo Pods. I've had Stigs. I've tried literally dozens and dozens of different companies' versions of the disposables. Most of them are actually built in the same factory. Different liquids, some of them have a little bit different batteries, but generally speaking, most of those companies use the same factories to build their stuff. So of course, they're all going to look similar. This, in my opinion, is by far and away the most high quality feeling disposable I've used. So with that aside, let's go ahead and open this bad boy up. I'm kind of curious as to what it looks like on the inside. Do not try this. I'm using a knife. There are electrical shit inside. There is a battery inside. If you puncture that battery, it will whoosh. So with that aside, you cannot refill these pods. You cannot recharge these pods. Please do not attempt to do so. Pop this bottom off like that. This is a pressure switch, and I do want to address auto firing. Not one auto fire. Zero gurgling, zero bullshit. It just works. Simple as that. Let's go take a look at this battery. So right here, 08500, 3.7 volts, 260 milliamp hour. That's a pretty solid milliamp hour. Let's go and take a look at this tank. There's a shit ton of liquid in this one still. How is that fucking possible? So most of the time, the biggest issue on these devices in particular with the auto firing, for example, like Mojo's were for a while until they had that shit fixed. Once there's a short in these wires, it starts to auto fire. That has never happened. I've used probably a dozen, maybe a couple more than that, of the Uno disposable pods, and I've never had a problem. Not one gurgle, nothing like that. I'm extremely impressed with these guys. Right here, you've got your reservoir of liquid, and then right here at the base, you've got your pressure switch. The only reason why I'm trying this is if this can actually come back together. Wow. Bitches. Now, with that being said, do I recommend these bad boys? Absolutely, 100%. I always recommend getting a few of these for people that you know who smoke, just as transition pieces. They're $7 a piece, and of course, the more you buy, the better deal you get in terms of these packs like this. Bitches, okay, smother truckers. Now, with that being said, let's go and get back to regular review, son. So the biggest advantage I've had with the Uno Pods is the fact that they offer so many different flavors. I haven't personally enjoyed the Cool Mint, that's the one I was kind of looking forward to, but the one that slapped me in the face in terms of flavor was the Pink Lemonade, also the Iced Lychee. If I was going to suggest any of them to try, if you're wanting disposable systems specifically, the Iced Lychee, in my humble opinion, is amongst the top lychee flavors, however you want to say it, that I've ever used. I'm actually digging the ones that are disposable like this, the non-refillable, rechargeable system that's more, you know, I hate using the word jewel, but it's more close to something like a jewel than the disposables. This I would consider to be a little bit more, you know, less environmentally friendly, less green. I like how light they are, but I also like the fact that they're made out of metal. So with that being said, the biggest advantage of the Skull Pods, in my opinion, is going to be flavor. Like I was saying, oh, that's depressing. Mandy took my other pina colada. Fuck! The only one I didn't like in general is just the Cool Mint. And to be completely honest, like that's pretty fucking phenomenal. Out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out of the 7 flavors I've tried, only one I wasn't a fan of. That's pretty damn good odds if you're gonna pick a couple of flavors. Now I know what you're asking yourself.
Hey, yo, Thesis, what's the compatibility scale, bitch?
On Thesis' patented finger compatibility scale, the disposables in particular, I'm going to give these bad boys a solid 7, 7.5. I would actually give them closer to an 8 now that I'm thinking about it, just because of the sheer selection of flavor. The tobacco one that I ended up by giving my mom, she did end up by liking it. The fact that Mama Thesis likes it, damn it, that's approval by me. The one that's closer to like a Juul system, it's one of those things where I like staying away from any product that's like that. However, I know that there's a giant demographic that specifically wants a Juul style device. I get it. It's convenient. It's easy to use. You don't got to think about it. You just throw the fucking pod in and it's done. That one I'd give a little bit higher rating only because it's going to be more versatile. Of course, it's more long-term. You don't have to worry about recycling on a constant basis. So that one I'd give close to an 8.2, 8.3. Bitch, it's okay, smother truckers. Now, with that being said, I want to tell you that I appreciate you vaping with Thesis. It is your boy Thesis. I'm out. I don't want to sound like a dipshit. Too late.